Welcome to Emergence with Elira, where we explore the fusion of spirituality, psychology, energetics, and entrepreneurship. I'm Elira Tichkuti, your guide on this journey into unfolding new, conscious, heart-based business paradigm and our own emergence through that. I want to talk about how to build meaningful, sustainable businesses that truly resonates with our essence, our integrity, capacity, soft power, and extrasensory, sensitive nature, while redefining success in today's world. So I just want to hop on today and to share what was brewing behind the scenes and to share a little bit more what it takes to build business and show up and make the movement or build something new as spiritual entrepreneur, as let's say high frequency being or more awake being. And maybe that will help you understand why it takes very different capacity, it takes very different pathway, and you will encounter very different challenges that, let's say, people who are not so awake or conscious or tapped into their like spiritual or more extrasensory nature would encounter. So just to emphasize, there's no better or worse, it's just different radio station. And I want to share that for different reasons. But first of all, like just to name it, because often we function into that different radio station, but we measure ourselves based on results, based on success and timeframes it takes based on the old radio station we have been or exist, or collective normalization of success, or collective energy, or even a lot of people around you are on, or what it took them to succeed. I was not sharing this, and I don't know why, but at a certain point I started to share more behind the scenes and my own process and what it takes for me to show up and to do what I do and to hold the spaces I hold and to deliver level of coaching I deliver with my Rise group, which is like advanced mastermind about self-leadership capacity, basically. People kind of reflected me back there. It's like, oh, that's actually for me almost the most valuable part that you're sharing. Or they say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize, like you make it look so effortless. And it just clicked to me. I was like, oh my goodness, like why I'm not sharing this more? And why don't we talk at all what it takes to be a spiritual entrepreneur and pioneer and claim space with your work on this very splitted and separating in duality earth in this world? And I realized that's, again, because the imprint I got from social media, from observing other entrepreneurs, is like you just have to show up, like, you know, you figured it out, you achieved something, only then you can share. And, you know, that conviction and confidence that it's very masculine energy, by the way, instead of sharing the journey, like what it takes for you to get there, what is really behind the scenes. Like, and then I realized actually that's what I'm also interested the most when I look into people who are, I feel like I want to arrive where they arrived. And I'm curious, like, how did you get there? Like, what it took you? Like, I would like to know your road there. But not in a way like these are 5 steps and this is the answer, this is what works. But also, like, what it took you emotionally. What were your day-to-day challenges and struggles? Like, where did you bump into? What did you have to overcome? And what did you learn from it? Like, what's your perspective when you bump into those walls? What did you do then? Like, what it takes, what it means, what struggles do you have, but also what kind of rewards and fulfillment do you have at this level of business growth, let's say, or this level of capacity holding growth? Because indeed, we often show just that it looks so easy. It's like walking in a park. And there is this part where it is easy when you overcome, but I'm just curious, like, to see full picture, same way as my clients reflected that to me. I also want to hands-on the cooking process. I want to see the kitchen, not just like beautiful outside dish that you bring me. And then when it clicked to me, this moment, I realized I never have to figure it out. I never need to wait a moment till I arrive to my ultimate success to share my journey, to share my becoming. And this is where actually I start to fall in love with my becoming, because especially in these times where we're pioneering something new, where we're completely rewiring everything, there is no end destination. There's no particular you arrived and that's it. It's constant evolution, constant new pathways, and claiming more space and just sharing with others oh, that's what it took me, this is how it feels here. There is no one singularity of this is the success, as when we were told to in old business paradigm, you are successful if you're famous, if you have money, if you have big amount of followers, big community, and that's it. Everything becomes way more nuanced and dynamic, and our own definition of success may change every month. So everything became more like nature. It's changing all the time. So there's no one thing, one moment that you arrive and this is it, and now this is a benchmark where I am track record that I'm successful and now I can share. It's more the journey that it matters. It's more your own becoming that it's actually very valuable. And last year I spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and explored a lot of quite successful coaches in the industry. And I love all of them. I learned a lot, I expanded a lot. I love their approaches. But at the same time, I felt every time I'm not fully met in the depth. I'm not really understood. It's piece of the cake, but not the cake. You know what I mean? And I spend a lot of time in that state of they are there and I'm not there. They are successful. Why I'm not successful? It looks so easy for them to get there. The advice often is simple. And I just can't get there. I often fell into that parasitis kind of energy. And I realized I had to withdraw because my pathway is very different. And also what it takes is very different. How we, spiritual, conscious, awakened, whatever label you want to put there, more we stay in the closet of what actually challenges we are going through, more we also contribute to that a little bit distorted image, what it takes to be spiritual entrepreneur, successful spiritual entrepreneur, and what it actually takes to build your body of work in these times. More we will have people, big heart, big soul, sensitive, new earth people, who will feel like it's something wrong with them, that they cannot belong in this world, that they don't know how to be there. And it's somehow, there's also this collective projection. It's if you're not where the image or perception that you're given by media or whatever collective surrounding of you or authority, what is success, it goes out of pilot, like something wrong with me, I'm doing something wrong. And I get that vibe, especially in Instagram. So I had to leave Instagram at a certain point because it started to kind of go under my skin too much. And this is exactly why I decided to share with you behind the scenes and what I go through. Because I also don't want you to be in that space where you feel stuck, like you can't figure it out, it's something wrong with you, you're unworthy, all kind of, these energies that sneak in that disempowers you. And I want to bring examples and maybe validation for where you are with my own sharing, what I have to go through to reach some certain way of success and what it takes. So you realize that it's nothing wrong maybe with you, and it's just your perception and more realistic judgment what actually takes you to get there for you, how much actually you're doing and working and processing and holding every day in the phase where you are. Or maybe you're just coming out of that very intense phase that you've been. Like the capacity you already have and capacity that is requires for you to be at the level where you are, to be the way you are. We somehow tend to forget. We just go in that provider protector mode and we just go and do things, but we actually forgot to stop and appreciate how much balls we are holding each day and shuffling without dropping it. That maybe it's nothing wrong with you, but you have to build totally different capacity to be a spiritual entrepreneur in today's world. What it takes is very different what we are still taught into regular coaching or business strategy approaches or consultations. Because partly that has been one of the biggest frustrations for me as well. So I was sitting today and reflecting my business and recent journey, what I've been through and what I had to go through. And I realized, oh my goodness, the amount of things and spectrum and challenges and different energetics, the world, the level of capacity of the world I hold around me every day or access every day is so different. So one of the things that I discovered in the last few years, the biggest vulnerability and the insanely increased amount of challenges I have often ends up with technology and people. Literally facing. So for example, it took me 2 months to launch a certain project. We didn't even launch it yet because we're still struggling. And we encountered probably every vulnerability in each technology that this time I chose to work with, because the frequency of technology is not very high. I constantly have technology challenges and focus challenges. At this point, after 2 months, the task that should have taken a maximum a week, it took us 2 months and we still don't know how long it will take for us to really roll it out and work. We've been on already, I don't think more than 3 development teams to see what the issue, because every time we go, there's some disturbance. And it ripples so far that it's not only technology I choose to work with, but also it doesn't work for the people who choose to support me. Suddenly they have all kind of encounters and issues and challenges and disturbances. It's there's some kind of technology that when you start to decide, okay, I'm going to claim this space and I'm going to bring this massively changing and empowering people program, how I sensed it, it's almost like this telescope that gets put on above you or below you, and it disturbs all the field. So suddenly everything is a little bit hotter, is disturbed, all the vulnerability starts to come out, it doesn't work, and all kind of really disturbances and distractions starts to happen just for you to be stopped. And I have this every single time I launch anything in the last few years. And I launched a lot. So there's a lot of consistency for me to talk about this. It's like I'm fighting invisible wall, invisible energetics. And I know I'm being attacked. I know I'm on the scope, on the radar, to be disturbed and delayed and interfered more, because I know I have a lot of powerful energy and message and work to do. And then I'm becoming more targeted of these negative high frequencies or interdimensional forces. Whatever you name it, I don't fully always have the awareness or access of that or visibility of that. I just feel that's what's happening, how they try to stop me. And the point when I already ready to launch and go out in the world, I'm I just feel like I've been in a war and I'm just tired. I don't feel enjoyment and excitement even to deliver the project. The same goes with people. And the contrast and duality is getting so increasingly visible. The gap is so much bigger every time. So there's almost no middle ground anymore. I shared in my envisioning 2025 that this gap between two worlds and two frequencies will deepen, and there's almost no middle ground anymore. So what before it could be like, okay, maybe this person is like, okay, I see red flags, but okay, I can work with it. And I'm talking here about support team, about hiring the team. No, not anymore. If there's slight vulnerability, if there are a lot of patterns or something is off there, it will go full on off. And sometimes there is nothing really wrong, but you're just on the different frequency level, and then it feels communication like you are on a different radio station. And it's just you talk, but you don't talk. It's like you cannot reach each other. So in a way, or it flows or it doesn't. It comes to that. And it's like there's no room for compromising or settling for anything anymore. But again, I'm sharing this because to give you perspective and example, what actually it takes for me just to make it work with tool or technology. What does it make it work? What time and efforts and challenges I encounter just to find the right people to support me? I spend years and amount of time to select technologies, and the level of it that I went to, it's insane. When I choose some kind of platform or provider, I go to their customer care. I go into their values. I check who created this program, what their energetic signature is. Like, I go so deep because I know if the frequency is not right, if the seed of that technology is not right, integrity is not right, it will not work. Same with people. I hired so many people and I tried. And when I found the ones that flows, like I cling to them like to dear life, and I keep them, I appreciate them, and I love them. And I have my web developer and graphic designer that we work for years now, and it just flows between us because the frequency is right, the click is right, and it just flows. We don't have any issues for years, and we did such amazing, beautiful work. And I'm so glad to have technology person who is next to me all the time, because technology is one of my biggest vulnerability in a way, because that's where I can control the least. Like, I could work on my personal internal vulnerabilities, which I've been tested and attacked and challenged all the way through. But now that one is more or less strong. There are always things, but like that field, like they don't have so much access to me to disturb me or kick me out of my center. Then it goes through the people around. Then it goes through technology around. And my body, my senses, my intuition became such a strong antenna that even on my mind, on the books, on the paper, everything looks ideal and everything looks right. My body just cannot go there. And I cannot do anything. And though it in itself is an amazing thing and it's a good thing, but it also has a shadow side because it takes way longer and I have to be way more selective and way more picky and trust the flow and the process and the right timing. So it's not always in the timing that my ego wants. And again, all the energy, time, challenges that comes extra with it, that it doesn't actually maybe come for a bit more regular entrepreneur who doesn't have such a attunement. In addition, I became so sensitive to all the nature changes and energetics and the energetic field around that it impacts me and my work and my energy on a daily basis, and collective energy impacts me on a daily basis so powerfully that sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot be consistent, I cannot show up, I cannot sometimes plan because I don't know, I wake up and what's the wave is going to hit me today? Like what Mother Nature is going to take me on a flow today. So again, I'm sharing that because I don't want you to be in the same place. I don't want you to even go there. Like, what's wrong with me if I cannot post on social media? What's wrong with me that I'm not in my flow, that I cannot launch things, or I don't feel like pulled or safe or to be entrepreneur or even call myself the business owner or put my work out there in the world. I'm just sharing with you, and I'm inviting you to ask yourself, what if it's other way around? What if it's nothing wrong with you? What if your body just saying you just don't belong there. You're just picking up that that's the way it's wrong, or that's the place is wrong, or environment is wrong, or the people are wrong, or technology is wrong that you're dealing with. And also, just to continue like behind the scenes and what I go on a daily basis as well. And again, why capacity is everything. Building your capacity and honoring your capacity is everything. Because we have amount of stress we can handle. Some days we have more capacity, some days we have less. There are seasons where we go through challenges, like moving to the new house. It's like so energy demanding and so challenging on so many levels. And if you have like conflict with your friend or your partner, or if you have this sick child or animal, and if you're launching at the same time, and every launch just per se is initiation in whatever topic you are launching, your capacity is different. Like you're already more vulnerable in your capacity. And again, nothing wrong with you. You're just being human and doing your best you can. I believe your sustainable, lasting business success cannot be built without proper foundations of you. Especially if you have heart-based business, it can be just as strong, aligned, and thriving as you are. As your capacity to hold and embody yourself, your creativity, your vision, and your potential. And also your ability to be daring, to embrace and lead from your truth, your guidance, your rebellious soul, and your extrasensory heart, to become and be the person you want to work with. I created the space, the Temple Path. It's probably one of the most non-conventional business-focused spaces based on personal growth, increased capacity, and nervous system care. Is for sensitive and ambitious, soulful entrepreneurs to access, embody, hold, and express more of you, genuine you in the world and your work. So you can be very sensitive, very rebellious, and so thriving in your own authentic way. In the capacity you have. So recently I moved to different house, different amazing place. And at that time I also had the launch of the program, and I also got a new baby kitten. I got a tiny rescue turtle, and I had dynamics going on in my personal life and personal relationships. So it was a lot going on my plate. And what happened is I missed the point that there were dead energies in my house, particularly that dude that I somehow, with all what's going on, I missed to kind of register. And I also missed to kind of moment to clear the house and to like really claim the space of my house. And what happened, this energy, this dead person started to kind of push me out of the space, but also started to kind of infiltrate through me, especially when I was vulnerable, which is very normal that you're vulnerable, especially when you have so much changes going on, where maybe you like going through emotionally a hard time, or, you know, we all have all kind of vulnerabilities in general. Like these are our weak spots, but like sometimes we just have season where we have a lot to hold, and then your capacity or your vulnerability can be in a different level. And at a certain point with time, I started to deteriorate. Like I started to feel more depleted all the time. I started to feel all kind of depressive thoughts, and things in my life started to decay. Like my business, the money, my health at a certain point started to go so bad. Like for last 2 months, I was sick, and also my cats, my plants started to kind of die off, and we all were super sick, and it felt like we are not healing. So this death energy, decay energy became like overpowering all of us. And I'm sharing that because it goes way beyond business strategies or applying building business as usual, what works for others. When you have all these kind of interferences of the energetic field around you, of interdimensional attacks, of death space and dead people. And here in Georgia is an insane amount of dead people walking on the streets, which triggered my body in a shock when I arrived. And then you have your personal stuff, personal human life and human capacity and physical capacity, emotional capacity, which is limited, let's say. And I remember at this point very vividly the moment where I was like so depleted. I felt like I am in this invisible war inside and I just cannot come back to my joy. I cannot come back to that flow of life and what's wrong with me again. And I had a coaching session and I said, I feel like I'm invisible. I'm like tasting life through the glass. It's like nobody can see me as well. And the person said, yeah, like you just go on social media and you have to be consistent. And I was like, this is where I dropped the ball. So number one, when you become brighter light in the world, you become a beacon of light and magnet to all those energies you don't want to attract as well. So you are attacked, you are disturbed, you are challenged by all those energies that wants your light, wants your body. And then all ancestors starts to line up because they also want the resolution through your body and through you. They always go to the person with the brightest light. And that's why I'm having this conversation, because as a spiritual or light worker or, I don't know, high frequency being, whatever name fits to you, resonates to you. For me, it's a potato, but I just want to make a point when you become more pure love, more pure, clean frequency in the world, more aligned without disturbance of patterns and constructions in you, you have to go through very different challenges. And due to that, it requires total different capacity for you to basically go through every day, to build, to create, to show up. You have to have very different self-leadership capacities, insanely strong boundaries for internal and external stuff, visible and invisible stuff. And you have to have very next level structural capacity, how you structure your life, your support, your energy, your business, your nourishment. Just imagine all these examples I gave. I go through the day. On top, I have regular business challenges like the client projected or have a conflict resolution, or simply very deep, profound, intimate session with a client. But then we also go with energetics and stuff that people usually don't go. And it requires to have a certain capacity and presence. And usually it goes really a lot through my body. As any kind of practitioner or coach or therapist, you probably know how actually much it takes to hold space for someone. And then there are simple, mundane things that also take space. Like I have to pay the bills. I have to take care of this admin stuff. I have to arrange my cleaning lady who got sick. I have to pick up the package. Like, all these kind of things also take space and energetics when you think about. And then the taxi driver screamed on me, and then the receptionist lady was really moody, and I picked it up, stuff there. And my baby kitten has abandonment trauma because of his very hard beginning of life, and he's still sick, and I have to go to vet, which is traumatizing and triggering for me. And then I'm doing things in business, trying out which are new, and I'm stretching my capacity, and I feel scared and terrified and excited at the same time. And then uncertain level of political and stable situation here in Georgia is like going more heated and heated, and there are protests all the time, and you never know, maybe civil war can happen tomorrow. So that's just a day. What we live in one day right now, with the flow of information and flow of distraction and all kind of frequencies floating around us and collective purging, the amount of stress, the amount of uncertainty, the intensity of our own healing journey, what we live in one day, people 100 years ago lived in half a year. So just that itself requires way different capacity level for you to hold, receive, and manage during day-to-day business, day-to-day life. But on top, when you start to go into this more expanded way of living and expanded embodiment of yourself, you also go into expanded level of challenges that nobody told you, obstacles nobody told you, ways you have to show up, ways you have to deal, nobody taught you. A lot of people even don't know. I'm also discovering and learning that myself through embodiment, through going through it. And I'm sure you have your own version of that. I'm just giving you perspective. And I hope you can relate and just give yourself a little bit compassion, actually, how much you're holding and how much you're handling, and compare how much bigger your capacity is now compared to even a few years ago or 10 years ago. Like your personal circumstances, your personal life, the collective we are living, but also society structure doesn't help or enable us with a capacity to hold more. So we have to find that and build that inner capacity ourselves. And I also was thinking the other day, as a healer, which is a little bit my frequency, I had to romance this word, but at the core, I'm a healer. My frequency is healing. And I accepted that. I can feel people very deeply. I can feel layers, what is going on. People start to fall asleep in front of me or not being able to speak, or things start to happen in my presence and around me. But then it comes with certain sensitivity that I have to take care of. Because, for example, with my clients, I hold very strong energetic boundaries, because even if they are not talking to me or sending messages or not in a session with me, I feel what's going on for them. Like energetically, we are connected. We made this agreement, so I sense them and tune into them. And then at a certain point, it can become very depleting. And that's why I have, as I said, like insanely strong energetic boundaries, like when we start and when we end, when they're in my space and when they are not in my business container space. And I often need to take breaks, withdraw, like completely disconnect from the field, like to recharge, not to feel affected by those energetics. Otherwise, I also get sick and depleted because it's just too much for my body to handle, and for different bodies, like emotionally, mental, energetic, spiritually, to hold, feel, and tune into. And when you think about in the old times, the tribe, the indigenous people, they had a little bit different society structure. Like those visionaries, the healers, the spiritual guides, they were treated differently. They were taken care of different by society, by the tribe. Because let's say there was a moment when they needed to retreat and go to the mountains to get their visions or tap into themselves or meditate or recharge, whatever, the journey that was. And that was often the case. All the village took care of them, their needs. They brought them food. They took care of all the mundane stuff that they could just really withdraw and hermit and do what they needed to do. So then they come back to the village and they give the wisdom they have. In our modern society, we don't have the structure. We have to provide for ourselves. We have to earn money. We have to show up in the business. We have to show up hold clients. We have to sustain and take care of our family. And now in these days, even homeschool. And also we have to take care of ourselves. We have to detox our bodies from all what, like a sponge, collected through our sessions as practitioners, as healers, or whatever you call it, or coaches or therapists. Or any spiritual entrepreneur, and whatever body work you do, we are way more sensitive, and external world and energetics are way more intense. So the dynamic and the self-nourishment and self-care, self-leadership, self-respect required is next level. It's not just me. I know a lot of us going through that, and we a little bit take it for granted. And we undercharge ourselves because we don't consider what it takes actually, and what our body goes through, and through the session, but also outside the session, before the session. Like my one-on-one sessions, and that's why I'm doing it less and less. It takes me, I don't know, a day or two to have like 1.5 our session, because I start to feel the themes people feel, the person feels. I already feel them in the field. And then before session becomes even more intense. And then after session, I also feel what's going on. So it's almost like the time it takes me to have powerful transformation and support for that person. Just if you charge for the hour, it's just not sustainable in a way, or not accurate in a way. So I'm just sharing how different and what it takes actually behind the scenes, what we don't name, we don't talk about, and we don't even consider or take into consideration or appreciate that really to extent it should be. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, that I think we should have more, at least more awareness. It took really long time for me also to really realize that for myself, really to understand actually how much I hold, how much it takes, how much I go through, the extent every single day. And it helped me to find more compassion and understanding for myself, like next level of recognition, appreciation, because we are playing next level game here in this life. We playing next level life. And there are not so many walked pathways, evidence of success, role models, or even collective norm of understanding and appreciation what actually it takes. And I want to bring that compassion and understanding to you as well, to find that to yourself, because I remember last year I so wanted to grow. I was so ready to expand. I had this vision and dreams, and I wanted to hold more people and clients and new people. And my capacity was just not there. If I'm honest, if I'm realistic, I had to deal with all these things that I didn't know how to deal, all this, what I just shared with you. It's just a few examples, but it was constantly stuff, and also very deep level purification of collective stuff, personal stuff. And at a certain point, I was like, oh my gosh, I just need to rest. I just need space. I just need familiar. I just need safety. I just need not complicated in a way. And also compassion to time it takes to arrive where you want to arrive, because you're also walking on the unfamiliar territories, unfamiliar ways, but also unfamiliar version of yourself. So what if it's nothing wrong with you? It's just society structure that is not supporting you, and you have to build the capacity yourself. What if it's nothing wrong with you? It's just old ways don't work anymore. Old identities, you don't relate anymore. What if those ways of doing business or definition of success or doing marketing were never correct? Maybe it's nothing wrong with you. Maybe it's just everything wrong with that. And you just here to walk a different pathway and maybe pioneer a different pathway, different way of showing up, creating, building, but also being with yourself, with who you are, how you do things, how you relate, what is your relational capacity with life, clients, business, your creative force. And that's why for me, capacity work is a little bit the answer here. At least what it's been for me. Because I think capacity is your how to navigate, how to hold more, how to receive more, how to manage more, how to feel more, how to be here more in life, and more view and experience more. It's like how to embody and increase the amplitude of being spiritual, extrasensory being in this human experience at these times on this earth. I think when you have bigger capacity for that, then you can claim more space in the world. With your essence, with your point of view, with your work, with the lifestyle and bonds you want to create and relate and have. It all comes to the capacity, because if capacity is not there, it's very hard to do any of that. And the space you take and claim in the world, but also your world itself becomes quite small. Then again, I've been there, done that. So that's why I'm talking. I share in my work everything that I embodied myself. And it goes extremely deep and wide, on so many levels, on so many areas of your life. Entrepreneurship is my access point, because entrepreneurship is also, I feel, very courageous journey where you invited to and initiated to a next level. But you are you in all areas of your life. You bring yourself everywhere. You bring your patterns everywhere. So it doesn't matter. It ripples in all areas of your life. If you don't have capacity in one area, probably you have quite a limited range of it in other areas as well. Because everything is interconnected one way or another. And my deepest heart desire is for collective to realize how impactful and profound and important actually capacity work is. That we stop getting distracted with all these shiny bright objects that doesn't even give us really profound and long-lasting and sustainable solution. And instead, we look into that capacity of being us, what we believe in, what we stand for, and how we want to experience this life, what we want to create on the more profound way. And for me, that's the capacity work. And that's why I'm organizing now Capacity Path Immersion. If you want to join, I organize it once a year. I will go next level because I've been initiated in this work so profoundly. I have so much to say about capacity-based growth of yourself, of your business, honoring your nervous system, honoring your body, honoring your energetics, but also 8 capacities that I think are very deep and foundational, not only in your business, but it's mainly about the business, but in every area of your life. I hope this conversations maybe gives you a little bit breathing air for your soul, for your essence, for your struggles. If you relate to any of it, if you recognize any of it, or you feel not seen or recognized, what actually takes for you to do business, I just want to say I feel you, I see you, I know how much and how different it takes in these times as a spiritual entrepreneur to build business and show up. And I hope this conversation will help you to quiet a bit your inner judge or inner critic that you're not doing enough, you're not where you want to be or supposed to be, that you're not earning enough money, or you didn't build success or the vision you have yet the way you want. I feel the frustration, but I also want to honor the capacity it needs for you to be day to day. Keep showing up, keep claiming the space, keep being you, and just keep building your body of work. Create what you are creating. It matters. And if you don't have, let's say, external success yet, as you may want to, or maybe you're conditioned from old business paradigm that you should have, remember energetically whatever you do and push and claim more space. And I'm using a lot of claim my space, but that's what is happening energetically. Energetically, we are living this war. And every time you face the fear, every time you purge the pattern, every time you push back all these disturbances and challenges, distractions, every time you pick yourself from victimhood and giving up and decided that you want to show up and that you are actually powerful, you win. You succeeded. Every time you decide to show up for your people, for your family, for your clients, you claim the space. And that's massive win. That's massive success. In these times, if we all just do that a little bit more and learn to celebrate that, to acknowledge, to appreciate that, not just the big wins, but also the small daily life wins, tipping point and the momentum would happen where that become a norm and the pathway will be pushed, and it would be easier every time for other people, but also for us to show up. I hope you feel more seen in my share. At least that was my intention, that you don't feel alone with your struggles and with the obstacles of entrepreneurship journey, which can sometimes feel like a washing machine where everything is up and down, and at a certain point you come out cleaner, you come out more pure, but it's a washing machine. And I also wanted a bit to name and normalize and to start having these conversations, how different journey feels to be a spiritual entrepreneur. And especially in these times that we are navigating. And the spiritual war we are fighting, including in the business. Really appreciate you being here and listening this. You do matter to me. And now give yourself a moment and feel your body. Close your eyes and let this information, this episode, go through your body, anchor in your body. Let it feel how it touches you and what sensations it brings up.